Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I thought we would talk about what is in this box. This very beat up yet wonderful box. I have here the complete set of Lukas Aquarell 1862 watercolor half pans. And let me tell you, I've used it quite a bit. Let's open it up. And there they are. Let's talk about what comes in this set, and then we'll talk about Lukas paints in general, or the Lukas watercolor paints. This set comes with 70 half pans, one of which is metallic. It comes with this really nice ceramic palette. I use this all the time. It came with a brush. It possibly came with two brushes. I don't remember. I did buy this a few years ago. I don't love this brush for watercolor. It's the Taklon bristles, and I don't feel it really holds that much water. It's great for acrylic and gouache, just not for watercolor. They didn't really need to include this in my opinion. And then finally, the pans are in these, I don't know, palette trays. Not the best quality in my opinion. They're not riveted well. They pop right out. But again, I don't think the value for this set is in the accessories. I think it's in the actual paint itself. Okay, so because this set is so huge, this is their complete line of watercolor, I have taped to the top of the box the swatches of the paint, just so I know what greens are, are the greens I'm thinking, what yellows, because they do start to blend together in their pans, so it is good to have a little swatch up top. This box actually isn't a bad option if you wanted to plein air paint. It is a little heavy because there's so much paint in here. But even with those loose trays, you can shake this around, put it in a backpack, shake it around. And those paints aren't going anywhere because the box is so thin, they can't jostle around. You can tape some paper up here, and you actually have quite a nice little box for painting out in the field. I actually do a lot of my paintings right on the cover of this. I'll tape them right to the box and paint.
Before I get into specifics of why I love this paint, here are some examples of paintings I did this July for World Watercolor Month. Lukas paints can be soft and gentle, and they can be vibrant, in your face, packed with pigment colors. What I love about them is they mix well without getting muddy. They flow well, but not so much that they are difficult to control. I can get some very fine detail with these paints. And they glaze very well. This last painting in particular required many layers of paint to achieve a weathered wood look, and yet they kept their vibrancy.
One thing I do want to mention is how soft and rewettable these paints are. Let me grab one. Let's just do this one on the end, the metallic. Let's try to get it in focus. And if you look, this is really soft paint. I mean, this is as dry as it's gonna get. And that's it. Look at that. That doesn't get hard. That doesn't get so dried out that you can't re-wet it. You touch this paint with a slightly damp brush and it's going to be loaded with pigment. And I take that as a sign of a good quality paint. Another sign you're dealing with high quality paints are the Lightfast ratings. All of these Lukas paints rate 6 or higher on the blue wool scale of Lightfastness. This means you can do a painting, make a painting, paint a painting, pick any of these colors and you're not gonna have to worry about fading. As long as you store the painting in the appropriate conditions and you hang them in appropriate conditions, that pigment isn't going anywhere. So I like the fact that I don't need to do my research for every individual pan of paint. I know all of these are going to be light fast enough to use in professional work that I want to sell. I was very skeptical of these claims because of the cost of these paints. These paints are not expensive for what they are. So I ended up doing my own Lightfast test. I compared them to M Graham, which is these first two rows. Now M Graham, top of the line paints, you can't really do much better than M Graham. Shinhan, which is a budget brand from Korea. And these last three rows right here are the Lukas. Now the Lukas, they didn't fade at all. They performed just as well as the M Graham. And these were hanging up in a south-facing window in direct sun in the winter. So there were no leaves on the trees. There was absolutely no blockage of sun for over a month. If they were gonna fade, I think they would have. As you can see, the Shinhan definitely did, especially the magentas and the purples. And the magentas and the purples of the Lukas look no different than when I first painted them. So here are some swatches of this paint. Most of them are pretty transparent. There are a few that have a slight opacity to them, but I don't think it's too unusual for some of these colors. Now I will say, I'm trying to tilt this so you can see the true color. My lighting is not showing the true vibrancy here of these paints. These are some bright, gorgeous paints. Now in the Lightfast test, you couldn't really see the variety of neutrals, but they're quite different. You got some warm, you got some cool. That gold is super shiny and shimmery. Now I'll leave this here just so you can look at those pretty colors while I talk about the value of this paint and why I think it's a good investment. This particular set of paint on Jerry's Artarama is currently running $199. And I know that sounds like a lot of money, but it's not for what you're getting. Because this is 70 pans of paint, they're averaging out to $2.84 for light fast, highly pigmented, easily rewettable paints. I think that is an incredible deal. You can see some of these paints. I'm almost down to the bottom of the pan. Now I've gotten several dozen paintings out of these paints so far. So I don't need a lot to get a painting done. However, I am needing to consider how I'm going to replace these. Now I have a few options. I can buy more half pans, or I can replace them with tubes of paint. Now this is why the Lukas paints are such a phenomenal deal. A tube of Lukas paint is 24 milliliters. In comparison to most other brands like M Graham, Daniel Smith, which are 15 milliliters. So they're almost a third bigger. The price averages from $12 to about $16, but on Jerry's Artarama, if you buy 12 tubes or more, you get a 32% off discount, and they end up ranging from $8.16 to about $11. And that means that they're about 34 cents per ounce to 50, nope, not ounce, milliliters, 34 cents per milliliter to about 50 cents per milliliter. Now, in comparison, the M-grams are double that price. They're about 66 cents to $1.05 per milliliters. Now, I love my M-grams. You can see how gorgeous and vibrant they are. And I use them all the time. But what I love about the Lukas is I don't need to be precious about these. I experiment with them. I do a lot of practice with them. I do professional pieces with them. And I don't worry about, oh God, if I mess this up, I'm using my expensive paints. I'm gonna have to replace them. But on the other hand, if I am experimenting with these and my painting comes out gorgeous, I know, hey, this is completely light safe, light fast, and I can sell it if I want to. Now, who do I think these paints are for? I think these paints are perfect from an advanced student who knows they love watercolor and wants to continue on their journey, but maybe doesn't have a huge budget, to experiment with new pigments, all the way up through a professional artist who, again, who maybe is just starting out selling their work. They don't have a lot of money to invest. This is a great option for just about anybody. I can't imagine anybody having these paints and being disappointed with them. Some people say 70 colors may be a bit overwhelming for a beginner painter or somebody who's still early in their watercolor journey, but I'm gonna say that I don't agree, especially if you do what I do. I'll pick 6 colors, usually no more than 6, once in a while 8, to have a limited palette for my paintings. Now, most of these paintings that I showed you earlier, I write on the back the pigments I used. So this particular one, I used 6 paints. This one I used 6. This one I used 6. These I used 6 each. But I was able to use different paints in every one of these paintings. I was able to experiment with all different kinds of pigment and learn which pigments I like best, which colors mix well together. And because I kept a limited palette for each painting, I was really able to problem solve through color mixing and achieving the look that I wanted. Most people aren't going to be able to have that option with Danielle Smith or with M. Graham. As gorgeous as those paints are, I know I personally cannot afford 70 tubes of M. Graham or 70 tubes of Danielle Smith, but I can afford 70 half pans of Lukas. Now, I don't think I mentioned earlier in this video, the Lukas brand is a German-based brand, and the only company, as far as I know, that has distribution rights in the United States is Jerry's Artarama. So if you wanted to purchase either this set or any of their other half pan sets or tubes of paint, you'd have to go to Jerry's Autorama. They're a great company to work with. I've purchased many things from them. This is in no way sponsored. I wish it was. It's a great company. And they sell these paints, and these prices actually fluctuate a little bit. So with Black Friday coming up, I'd certainly check out their site because they might have even better deals than what I have already shared with you. So let me know what you think of these paints. What do you think of the swatches? What do you think of the finished products? What do you think of the price? Do you think that they're as good of a value as I do? And also let me know if this is the kind of video you like to see. Would you like to see other reviews of products that might be a hidden good deal? So anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you soon.